The book of 2 Kings, chapter 9. And Elisha the prophet called one of the children of the prophets, and said unto him, Gird up thy loins, and take this box of oil in thine hand, and go to Ramoth Gilead. And when thou comest thither, seek out there Jehu the son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nimshi, and go in and make him arise up from among his brethren, and carry him to an inner chamber. Then take the box of oil, and pour it on his head, and say, Thus saith the Lord, I have anointed thee king over Israel. Then open the door, and flee, and tarry not. So the young man, the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilead. And when he came, behold, the captains of the host were sitting. And he said, I have a message for thee, O captain. And Jehu said, Unto which of us all? And he said, To thee, O captain. And he arose, and went into the house, and he poured the oil on his head, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I have anointed thee king over the people of the Lord, even over Israel, and thou shalt smite the house of Ahab thy master, that I may avenge the blood of my servant the prophets, and the blood of all thy servants of the Lord, at the hand of Jezebel. For the whole house of Ahab shall perish, and I shall cut off from Ahab him that urinates against the wall, and him that is shut up and is left in Israel. And I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah. And the dogs shall eat Jezebel in the portion of Jezreel, and there shall be none to bury her. And he opened the door and fled. And Jehu came forth to the servants of his lord, and one said to him, Is all well? Why came this mad fellow to thee? And he said unto him, Ye know the man, and his communication. And they said, It is false. Tell us now. And he said, Thus and thus spoke he to me, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I have anointed thee king over Israel. Then they hastened, and took every man his garment, and put it under him on top of the stairs, and blew trumpets, and saying, Jehu is king. So Jehu, son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram had kept Ramoth Gilead, he and all Israel, because of Hazael, king of Syria. But King Joram had returned to be healed in Jezreel for the wounds which the Syrians had given him when he fought with Hazael, king of Syria. And Jehu said, If it be in your minds, then let none go forth, no escape out of the city, to go tell it to Jezreel. So Jehu rode in a chariot and went to Jezreel, for Joram lay there. And Ahaziah, king of Judah, had come down to see Joram. And there stood a watchman on the tower of Jezreel, and he spied the company of Jehu as he came, and said, I see a company. And Joram said, Take a horseman, and send to meet them, and say to him, Is it peace? And there went one on horseback to meet him, and said, Thus saith the king, Is it peace? And Jehu said, What hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee in behind me. And the watchman told, saying, The messenger came to them, but he cometh not back. Then he sent out a second horseman, who came to them, and said, Thus saith the king, Is it peace? And Jehu answered, What hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee in behind me. And the watchman told and said, He came even unto them, and cometh not back. And the driving is like the driving of Jehu the son of Nimshi, for he driveth ferociously. And Joram said, Make ready. And his chariot was made ready. And Joram king of Israel, and Ahaziah king of Judah, went out, each in his chariot, and they went out against Jehu, and met him in the portion of Naboth the Jezreelite. And it came to pass, when Joram saw Jehu, he said, Is it peace, Jehu? And he answered, What peace, so long as the whoredom of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many? And Joram turned his hands and fled, and said to Ahaziah, There is treachery, O Ahaziah. And Jehu drew a bow with his full strength, and smote Joram between his arms, and the arrow went out at his heart, and he sank down in his chariot. And said Jehu to Bidkar his captain, Take him up, and cast him in the portion of the field of Naboth the Jezreelite. For remember how when I and thou rode together after Ahab his father, the Lord laid this burden upon him. Surely I have seen yesterday the blood of Naboth and the blood of his sons, saith the Lord, and I will requite thee in this plot, saith the Lord. Now therefore, take and cast him in the plot of the ground, according to the word of the Lord. But when Ahaziah the king of Judah saw this, he fled by the way of the garden of the house. And Jehu followed after him, and said, Smite him also in the chariot. And they did also in the ascent to Gur, which is by Ibleam. And he fled to Megiddo, and died there. And his servants carried him in a chariot to Jerusalem, and buried him in his sepulchre, and with his fathers, in the city of David. And in the 11th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, Ahaziah had begun to reign over Judah. And when Jehu had come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and attired her head, and looked out the window. And as Jehu entered at the gate, she said, Had Zimri peace, who slew his master? And he lifted up his face to the window and said, Who is on my side? Who? And there looked out at him 2 or 3 eunuchs, and he said, Throw her down. And so they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses, and he trod her underfoot. And when he had come in, he ate and drank, and said, Go, see now this accursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter. And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than a skull, and the feet and the palms of her hands. Therefore they came back and told him, and he said, This is the word of the Lord, which he had spoke to his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, In the portion of Jezreel shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel, and the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, This is Jezebel. Chapter 10. And Ahab had 70 sons in Samaria, and Jehu wrote letters and sent them to Samaria, unto the rulers of Jezreel, to the elders, and to those who brought up Ahab's children, saying, Now as soon as this letter cometh to you, since your master's sons are with you, and there are with you chariots and horses, a fortified city also in armor, choose even out the best and most suitable of your master's sons, and set him on his father's throne, and fight for your master's house. But they were exceedingly afraid, and said, Behold, 2 kings stood not before him. How then shall we stand? And he that was over the house, and he that was over the city, the elders also, and the guardians of the children, sent to Jehu, saying, We are thy servants, and would do all that thou shalt bid us, but we will not make any king. Do thou that which is good in thine eyes. Then he wrote a letter the second time to them, saying, If ye be for me, and if ye will hearken unto my voice, take ye the heads of the men your master's sons, and come to me at Jezreel by tomorrow this time. Now the king's sons, being 70 persons, were with the great men of the city who brought them up. And it came to pass, when the letter came to them, they took the king's sons, and slew 70 persons, and put their heads in baskets, and sent him them at Jezreel. And there came a messenger and told him, saying, They have brought the heads of the king's sons. And he said, Lay them in 2 heaps at the entrance of the gate until morning. And it came to pass, in the morning he went out and stood, and said to the people, Ye are righteous, behold, I conspired against my master, and slew him. But who slew all these? Know now that there shall fall unto the earth nothing of the word of the Lord, which the Lord spoke concerning the house of Ahab, for the Lord hath done that which he spoke by his servant Elijah. So Jehu slew all that remained of the house of Ahab and in Jezreel, and all his great men, and his kinfolk, and his priests, until he left none remaining. And he arose and departed, and came to Samaria, And as he was at the shearing house on his way, Jehu met with the brethren of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and said, Who are ye? And they answered, We are brethren of Ahaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king of the children of the queen. And he said, Take them alive. And they took them alive, and slew them at the pit of the shearing house, even 42 men, neither left he any of them. And when he had departed from thence, he happened upon Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, coming to meet him, and he saluted him, and said to him, Is thine heart right, as my heart is with thine heart? And Jehonadab answered, It is. If it be, give me thine hand. And he gave him his hand, and Jehu took him up into the chariot, and said, Come with me, and see my zeal for the Lord. And they made him ride in his chariot, and when he came to Samaria, he slew all that remained unto Ahab in Samaria, till he had destroyed him, according to the saying of the Lord which he spoke to Elijah. And Jehu gathered all the people together, and said unto them, Ahab served Baal a little, but Jehu shall serve him much. Now therefore, call unto me all the prophets of Baal, all his servants and all his priests, let none be wanting, for I have a great sacrifice to do unto Baal. Whoever shall be wanting, he shall not live. But Jehu did it subtly, with the intent that he might destroy the worshippers of Baal. And Jehu said, Proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal. And they proclaimed it, and Jehu sent through all Israel, and all the worshippers of Baal came, so that there was not a man left who came not. And they came into the house of Baal, and the house of Baal was full from one end to the other. And he said unto him that was over the vestry, Bring forth vestments for all the worshippers of Baal. And they brought forth vestments. And Jehu went, and Jehonadab the son of Rechab, into the house of Baal, and said unto the worshippers of Baal, Search, and look that there be here with you none of the servants of the Lord, but worshippers of Baal only. And they went in to offer sacrifices and burnt offerings. Jehu appointed 80 men outside, and said, If any of the men whom I have brought into your hands escape, he that letteth him go, his life shall be for the life of him. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, that Jehu said to the guard of the captains, Go in and slay them, let none come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and the guards and the captains cast them out, and went to the city of the house of Baal. And they brought forth images out of the house of Baal, and burned them. And they broke down the image of Baal, and broke down the house of Baal, and made it an outhouse unto this day. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of Israel. However, from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, Jehu departed not from them, to wit, from the golden calves that were in Bethel, and that were in Dan. And the Lord said unto Jehu, Because thou hast done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes, and thou hast done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in mine heart, thy children of the 4th generation shall sit on the throne of Israel. But Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord God of Israel with all his heart, for he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, who made Israel to sin. In those days the Lord began to cut Israel short, and Hazael smote them in all the borders of Israel, from the Jordan eastward, all the land of Gilead, the Gadites, the Reubenites, the Massonites, from Aroer, which is by the river Arnon, even Gilead and Bashan. Now the rest of the acts of Jehu, and all he did, and all his might, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehu slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Samaria. And Jehoaz, his son, reigned in his stead. And the time that Jehu reigned over Israel in Samaria was 28 years. Chapter 11. And when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw her son was dead, she rose and destroyed all the seed royal. But Jehosheba, daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons who were slain, and they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber of Athaliah, so that he was not slain. And he was with her hid in the house of the Lord 6 years, and Athaliah reigned over the land. In the 7th year, Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds and captains of the guard, and brought them to him in the house of the Lord, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath from them in the house of the Lord, and showed them the king's sons. And he commanded them, saying, This is the thing ye shall do. A third part of you that enter in on the Sabbath shall be keepers of the watch of the king's house, and a third part shall be at the gate of Sur, and a third part at the gate behind the guard. So shall you keep the watch of the house, that it not be broken down. And two parts of all you that go forth on the Sabbath, even they shall keep the watch of the house of the Lord about the king. Ye shall compass the king round about, every man in his weapons, with his weapons in his hand, that he cometh within the ranges. Let him be slain, and be ye with the king, as he goeth out and as he cometh in. And the captains over the hundreds did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest commanded. And they took every man his men, who were to come in on the Sabbath, with those who should go out on the Sabbath, and came to Jehoiada the priest. And to the captains over hundreds, the priest gave King David spears and shields that were in the temple of the Lord. And the guard stood, every man with his weapons in his hand, round about the king, from the right corner of the temple to the left corner of the temple, along by the altar of the temple. And he brought forth the king's son, and put the crown upon him, and gave him the testimony. And they made him king, and anointed him, and clapped their hands, and said, God save the king. And when Athaliah heard the noise of the guard and the people, she came to the people into the temple of the Lord. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the princes and the trumpeters by the king. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and blew the trumpets. And Athaliah rent her clothes, and cried, Treason, treason! But Jehoiada the priest commanded the captains of the hundreds and the officers of the host, and said to them, Bring her forth outside the ranks, and let him that followeth her kill with the sword. And the priests had said, Let her not be slain in the house of the Lord. And they laid hands on her, and she went by the way by which the horses came into the king's house, and there she was slain. And Jehoiada made a covenant between the Lord and the king and the people, that they should be the Lord's people, and also between the king and the people. And all the people of the land went to the house of Baal, and broke it down. His altars and his images broke they in pieces thoroughly, and slew Matan the priest of Baal before the altars. And the priest appointed officers over the house of the Lord. And he broke the rulers over the hundreds, and the captains, and the guard, and all the people of the land. And they brought down the king from the house of the Lord, and came by the way of the gate of the guard to the king's house. And he sat by the throne of the king, by the kings, and all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was in quiet. And the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was in quiet. And they slew Athaliah with the sword beside the king's house. 7 years old was Joash when he began to reign. Chapter 12. In the 7th year of Jehu, Joash began to reign. And 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zibiah of Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the sight of the Lord all his days, wherein Jehoiada the priest instructed him. But the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burned incense in the high places. And Joash said to the priests, all the money of the dedicated things that is brought into the house of the Lord, even the money of every one that passeth the account, the money that every man is set at, and the money that cometh into any man's heart to bring to the house of the Lord, let the priests take it to themselves, every man from his acquaintance, and let them repair the breaches of the house, whithersoever any breach shall be found. But it was so, that in the 23 year of King Joash, the priests had not repaired the breaches of the house. Then King Joash called for Jehoiada the priest and the other priests, and said to them, why repair ye not the breaches of the house? Now therefore receive no more money from your acquaintance, but deliver it for the breaches of the house. And the priests consented to receive no more money from the people, neither to repair the breaches of the house. But Jehoiada the priest took a chest and bored a hole in the lid of it, and set it beside the altar, on the right side, as one cometh into the house of the Lord. And the priests who kept the door put therein all the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. And it was so, that when they saw that there was much money in the chest, that the king's scribe and high priest came up, and they put it in bags, and counted the money that was found in the house of the Lord. And they gave the money being counted in the hands of those who did the work, who had the oversight of the house of the Lord. And they laid it up to the carpenters and builders who wrought upon the house of the Lord, and to masons and hewers of stone, to buy timber and hewn stone, to repair the breaches of the house of the Lord, and for all that was laid out for the house to repair. However, there was not made for the house of the Lord bowls of silver, snuffers, basins, trumpets, any vessels of gold or vessels of silver, from the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. But they gave it to the workmen, and repaired therewith the house of the Lord. Moreover, they reckoned not with men into whose hand they delivered the money to be bestowed on the workers, for they dealt faithfully. The trespass money and sin money was not brought into the house of the Lord. It was the priests. When Hazael king of Syria went up and fought against Gath, and took it, and Hazael set his face up to go to Jerusalem, and Joash king of Judah took all the hallowed things that Jehoshaphat and Jehoram and Ahaziah his fathers, kings of Judah, had dedicated, and his own hallowed things, and all the gold that was found in the treasures of the house of the Lord. He went and in the king's house, and sent it to Hazael king of Syria, and he went away from Jerusalem. And the rest of the acts of Joash, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And his servants arose and made a conspiracy, and slew Joash in the house of Milo, which goeth down to Selah. For Josachar, the son of Simeath, and Jehozabad, the son of Shomar, his servants, smote him, and he died. And they buried him with his fathers in the city of David, and Amaziah, his son, reigned in his stead. Chapter 13. In the 23 year of Joash, the son of Ahaziah, king of Judah, Jehoaz, son of Jehu, began to reign over Israel in Samaria, and reigned 17 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, and followed the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. He departed not therefrom, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. He delivered them into the hand of Hazael, king of Syria, and into the hand of Ben-Hadad, the son of Hazael, all their days. And Jehoahaz besought the Lord, and the Lord hearkened unto him, for he saw the compassion of Israel, because the king of Syria oppressed them. And the Lord gave Israel a Saviour. So they went out from under the hand of the Syrians, and the children of Israel dwelt in their tents as before. Nevertheless, they departed not from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, who made Israel sin, but walked therein, and there remained the Asherah poles also in Samaria. Neither did he leave to Jehoaz all the people, but 50 horsemen, and 10 chariots, and 10,000 footmen. For the king of Syria had destroyed them, and made them like the dust by threshing. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoaz, and all he did, and his might, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoaz slept with his fathers. They buried him in Samaria, and Jehoash his son reigned in his stead. In the 37th year of Jehoash king of Judah began in the 37th year of Joash king of Judah, Jehoash the son of Jehoaz to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 16 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel sin, but he walked therein. And the rest of the acts of Jehoash, and all he did, and his might, wherewith he fought against Amaziah king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam sat upon his throne. And Jehoash was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. Now Elisha has fallen sick with his sickness, whereof he died. And Jehoash the king of Israel came down unto him, and wept over his face, and said, O my father, the chariots of Israel and horsemen thereof. And Elisha said unto him, Take bows and arrows. And he took him bow and arrows. And he said unto the king of Israel, Put thine hand upon thy bow. And he took his hand upon it. And Elisha put his hands upon the king's hands. And he said, Open the window eastward. He opened it, and Elisha said, Shoot. And he shot. And he said, The arrow of the Lord's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Syria. For thou shalt smite the Syrians in Aphek, till thou have consumed it. And he said, Take the arrows. And he took them. And he said to the king of Israel, Smite upon the ground. And he smote thrice, and ceased. And the man of God was wroth with him, and said, Thou shouldest have smitten 5 or 6 times, then had thou smitten Syria till thou had consumed it, whereas now thou shalt smite Syria but thrice. And Elisha died, and they buried him. And the bands of the Moabites invaded the land at the coming in of the year. And it came to pass, as they were burying a man, that, behold, they spied a band of men, and they cast the man into the sepulchre of Elisha. And when the man was let down and touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood upon his feet. But Hazael, king of Syria, oppressed Israel. When Hazael, king of Syria, oppressed Israel all the days of Jehoaz, and the Lord was gracious unto them, and had compassion on them, and respect unto them, because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and would not destroy them, neither cast he them from his presence as yet. So Hazael, king of Syria, died, and Ben-Hadad his son reigned in his stead. And Jehoash, son of Jehoaz, took back out of the hand of Ben-Hadad the son of Hazael the cities which was taken out of the hand of Jehoaz his father by war. 3 times did Joash beat him and recover the cities of Israel. Chapter 14. The 2nd year of Jehoash, son of Jehoaz, king of Israel, reigned Amaziah, son of Joash, king of Judah. He was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jehoadin of Jerusalem, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, yet not like David his father. He did all things according to Joash his father did. However, the high places were not taken away. As yet the people sacrificed and burned incense in high places. And it came to pass, as soon as the kingdom was confirmed in his hand, that he slew his servants, and slain the king his father. But the children of the murderers he slew not, according unto that which was written in the book of the law of Moses, wherein the Lord commanded, saying, The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, nor the children put to death for their fathers. But every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. He slew of Edom at the valley of Salt 10,000, and took Selah by war, and called the name of it Joktheel until this day. And Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, the son of Jehoaz, son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, Come, let us look one another in the face. And Jehoash, king of Israel, sent to Amaziah, king of Judah, saying, The thistle that is in the Lebanon sent to the cedar that is in Lebanon, saying, Give thy daughter to my son for a wife. And there passed a wild beast that was in Lebanon, and trode down the thistle. Thou hast indeed smitten Edom, and thine heart that hath lifted thee up. Glory in this, and tarry at home. For why shouldest thou meddle to thy hurt, and that thou shouldest fall, even thou, and Judah with thee? But Amaziah would not hear. Therefore Jehoash, king of Israel, went up, and he and Amaziah, king of Judah, looked one another in the face at Beth-shemesh, which belonged to Judah. And Judah was put to the worst before Israel. And they fled every man to their tents. And Jehoash, king of Israel, took Amaziah, king of Judah, the son of Joash, the son of Ahaziah, at Beth-shemesh, and came to Jerusalem, and broke down the wall of Jerusalem from the gate of Ephraim unto the corner gate, 400 cubits. And he took all gold and silver, and all the vessels that were found in the house of the Lord, and in the treasuries of the king's house, and hostages, and returned to Samaria. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoash, which he did, and his might, and how he fought with Amaziah, king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoash slept with his fathers, and was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel, and Jeroboam his son reigned in his stead. And Amaziah, son of Joash, king of Judah, lived after the death of Jehoash, son of Jehoaz, king of Israel, 15 years. And the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? Now they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish. But they sent after him to Lachish to slew him there. And they brought him on horses, and he was buried in Jerusalem with his fathers in the city of David. And all the people of Judah took Azariah, who was 16 years old, and made him king instead of his father Amaziah. He built Elath and restored it to Judah. After that, the king slept with his fathers. In the 15th year of Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, son of Jehoash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria, and reigned 41 years, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not at all from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. He restored the border of Israel from the entrance of Hamath unto the sea of the plain, according to the word of the Lord God of Israel, which he spoke at the hand of the servant of Jonah, the son of Amittai, the prophet, who was from Gath-hepher. For the Lord saw the affliction of Israel, that it was very bitter. For there was not any shut up there, nor any free, nor any helper for Israel. And the Lord said that he would not, the Lord said not that he would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he would save them by the hand of Jeroboam the son of Jehoash. Now the rest of the acts of Jeroboam and all he did, and his might, how he warred, and how he recovered Damascus and Hamath, which belonged to Judah, for Israel, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jeroboam slept with his fathers, even with the kings of Israel, and Zechariah his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 15. In the 27th year of Jeroboam king of Israel began Azariah son of Amaziah king of Judah to reign. 16 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jecholiah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah had done, save that the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still in the high places, and the Lord smote the king, that he was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a separate house. And Jotham the king's son was over the house, judging the people of the land. And the rest of the acts of Azariah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Azariah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David, and Jotham his son reigned in his stead. In the 38th year of Azariah king of Judah did Zechariah the son of Jeroboam reign over Israel in Samaria 6 months, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, and his fathers, as his fathers had done. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. And Shallum the son of Jabesh conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Zechariah, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. This was the word of the Lord which he spoke unto Jehu, saying, Thy sons shall sit in thy throne of Israel unto the 4th generation. And it came to pass. Shallum the son of Jabesh began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah king of Judah, and he reigned a full month in Samaria. For Menahem son of Gadi went up from Tirzah, and came to Samaria, and smote Shallum the son of Jabesh in Samaria, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Shallum and his conspiracy which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. Then Menahem smote Tifsha and all who were there, and the borders therein of Tirzah, because they opened not to him. Therefore he smote it, and all the women therein who were with child he ripped up. In the 39th year of Azariah king of Judah began Menahem the son of Gadi to reign over Israel, and reigned 10 years in Samaria. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. And Pul king of Assyria came against the land, and Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Menahem extracted the money from Israel, even from the mighty men of wealth, from each man 50 shekels of silver, to give the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and stayed not there in the land. And the rest of the acts of Menahem and all he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Menahem slept with his fathers, and Pekahiah his son reigned in his stead. In the 5th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 2 months. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. But Pekah the son of Remaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria, in the palace of the king's house. And Argob and Are, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites. And he killed him and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Pekahiah, and all he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. In the 52nd year of Azariah king of Judah, Pekah the son of Remaliah began to reign over Israel in Samaria, and reigned 20 years, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. The days of Pekah king of Israel came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and took Ijon and Abel Beth-Makkah and Genoa and Kadesh and Hazor and Gilead and Galilee, all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captives to Assyria. And Hosea the son of Elah made a conspiracy against Pekah the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him, and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham the son of Uzziah. And the rest of the acts of Pekah and all he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. The 2nd year of Pekah the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, began Jotham son of Uzziah, king of Judah, to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jerusha, daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. However, the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still in the high places. He built a higher gate of the house of the Lord. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham and all he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? In those days the Lord began to send against Judah Rezin the king of Syria, and Pekah the son of Remaliah. And Jotham slept with his fathers, and he was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 16. In the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz the son of Jotham king of Judah began to reign. 20 years old was Ahaz when he began to reign. He reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and did not do that which was right in the sight of the Lord his God, like David his father. But he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, yea, and made his son pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, who the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel. And he afflicted and burned incense in high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. Then Rezin king of Syria, and Pekah his son, Remaliah king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. At that time Rezin king of Syria recovered Elath for Assyria, and drove the Jews from Elath. And the Syrians came to Elath, and dwelt there unto this day. So Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser king of Syria, saying, I am thy servant and thy son. Come up and save me out of the hand of the Syria, out of the hand of the king of Syria, and out of the hand of the king of Israel, who rise up against me. And Ahaz took the silver and gold that was found in the house of the Lord, and out of the treasuries of the king's house, and sent it as a present to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria hearkened unto him. And the king of Assyria went up against Damascus, and took it, and carried the people of it captive to Kir, and slew Rezin. And the king of Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser king of Assyria, and saw an altar that was in Damascus. And King Ahaz sent to Urijah the priest, the design of the altar, and the pattern of it according to the workmanship thereof. And Urijah the priest built an altar according to what the king Ahaz had sent from Damascus. So Urijah the priest made it for King Ahaz coming from Damascus. And when the king came from Damascus, the king saw the altar, and the king approached the altar and offered thereon. And he burned his burnt offering and his meat offering, and poured his drink offering, and sprinkled the blood of his peace offering upon the altar. And he brought also the brazen altar which was before the Lord from the forefront of the house, and between the altar and the house of the Lord, and he put it on the north side of the altar. And King Ahaz commanded Urijah the priest, saying, Upon the great altar burn the morning burnt offering and the evening meat offering, and the king's burnt sacrifice and his meat offering, with the burnt offering of all the people of the land, and their meat offering, and their drink offerings, and sprinkle upon it the blood of the burnt offering, and the blood of the sacrifice, and the brazen altar shall be for me to inquire by. Thus did Urijah the priest, according to all that King Ahaz commanded. And King Ahaz cut off the borders of the bases, and removed the laver from them, and took down the sea from off the brazen oxen that were under it, and put it upon a pavement of stone, and the covert of the Sabbath that they had built in the house, and the king's entry outside he removed from the house of the Lord for the king of Assyria. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaz which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Ahaz slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, and Hezekiah his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 17. In the 20th year of Ahaz king of Judah, Hosea the son of Elah began to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel who were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant, and rendered him tribute. But the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land, and went up to Samaria, and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria. The king of Assyria took Samaria, and carried Israel away to Assyria. My goodness. And placed them in Hala, in a harbor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods. And they walked in the statutes of the heathen, from whom the Lord had cast out from before the children of Israel, and the kings of Israel which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things which were not right against the Lord their God, and they built themselves high places, and all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fortified city. And they set up for themselves images and Asherah poles in every high hill, and under every green tree. And there they burned incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom the Lord carried away from before them, and wrought wicked things, and provoked the Lord to anger. For they served idols, whereof the Lord hath said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and statutes, according to all the law which I commandeth your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks like the neck of their fathers, who did not believe in the Lord their God. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen who were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not be like them. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made the molten images, even 2 calves, and made Asherah pole, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of the despoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, and Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord, and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, and departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all of his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Shapharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they pressed Samaria, and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling, that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Therefore they spoke to the king of Assyria, saying, The nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them. And behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the Lord of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, Carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the God of the land. Then one of the priests who they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. However, every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation of their cities wherewith they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth Benoth, and men of Cuth made Negal, and men of Hamath made Ashima, and the Avites made Nibhath and Tartak. And the Servites burned their children in the fire to Adramelech and Arnamelech, and the gods of the Savamon, and they feared the Lord. And God made unto themselves the lowest of the priests in the high places, who sacrificed unto them in the houses the high places. They feared the Lord, but served their own gods, after the manner of the nations who carried them away from thence. Unto this day they do according to the former manner. They fear not the Lord, neither do they do according to their statutes, or according to their ordinance, the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel, with whom the Lord hath made covenant, and charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves down to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them, but the Lord who brought you up out of the land of Egypt, with great power and strength, stretched out arm, him shall you fear, and him shall you worship, and to him ye shall do sacrifices, and the statutes and ordinances and the law and commandments which he wrote for you, ye shall observe and to do for evermore, and ye shall not fear other gods. And the covenant which I have made with you ye shall not forget, neither shall you fear other gods, but the Lord your God ye shall fear, and ye shall deliver you out of the hand of your enemies. However, they did not hearken, but they did according to their former manner. So these nations feared the Lord, and also served graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers, so did they to this day. We'll stop there.